everyone to the I think it's Wednesday today meeting of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal Port Management Johnstown Port Management Committee. It's a little after 6:30 in our temporary location, so Edwardsburg Community Center. We have an agenda in front of us tonight. Are there any changes to the agenda as it's written and as it's presented? Any changes or to take it? Okay, so I need a mover to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Waddy-Smale, seconded by Councillor Martel. Any discussion on it? No. All in favor? Good. Disclosure of pecuniary interest of the general nature thereof. Does anyone have any disclosures tonight? None here. Hearing none, we'll move on to delegations and presentations. We were supposed to have one for VFL Insurance. It is delayed until April or May, and next to us the weather tonight. Or
Actually, not to make it. So, yeah, postpone.
Absolutely, we'll see him in April or May, whatever. Best. So we're moving on to the minutes of the Port of Johnstown committee meeting. Does anyone? So we're. I always say, or I always mess this up. So.
Your chair, report.
So we're approving, and then we do business arising out, right?
Correct. So if there's any
Errors. Make sure it's. Okay, good. I don't think I'm going to get that. So I am not convinced I'm going to do this. So, all right. So errors, permissions, minutes, changes, anything that should be done. Everybody's happy with that? Okay. So then moving on to, so wait, we need a reserve motion there? Okay, so I need the reserve motion written or? Okay, so I need a motion then to approve and review. Review and approve. Receive and review the minutes from the January 25th board meeting. I have a mover. Moved by Councilor Martel, seconded by Councilor Ward, and more discussion. All in favor? Yes. All right. Now, business arising from those previous board management committee meetings. Sorry. Does anyone have any business arising from that? From those minutes? No business. Good. All right. So we're on to discussion items. 7 bullet point 1. So is bullet point 1 a 7A then and B and C? Or are we discussing them all at the same time? To the board. Are we discussing all three at the same time? Individual items or individual? Right. So bullet point 1 then, terms of reference. Information is attached in here. There are to the clerk those changes that came in red. There's some in blue as well. Do you want to just give us a brief overview of what was done?
Sure. So just ignore blue versus red. Just myself and the CAO were doing heads. So you'll see the tracking through and on red, which is the collaborative effort the other day we got reviewing these. When we go to the first page, you'll see all of the current council members outlined, as well as also one of the board advisory members. The rest of them from page 7 of 31 and 8 of 31 are just minor updates to make it congruent with our current bylaw outline. Going to schedule A for administration. The last meeting there's discussion about the possibility of doing either 2 or 4 non-voting members. There's a few coordinated tonight by what they want to go with that. If you're going to be doing the possible 4 non-voting members, you have to know that when there's quorum, we have to ensure that there's at least majority of the council, because otherwise, if we have 4 non-voting members, and only 2 council members show up, and quorum, that's no. Options 1, 2, and 3, under 7. That was proposed, following the what we in January, where we were looking at possibly when you wanted the board meeting scheduled for the future. So option 1 would be the third Monday of each month. Option 2, third Wednesday, is that fourth Wednesday, depending on the meeting schedule of the council. And option 3 is the neighbor that is going with our proposals for the bylaw. Or option 3 is for Monday. Other than that, there are just minor changes on the next page under finance for 5, just to update because it's no longer CAO clerk, is CAO and clerk position, so I don't need to list it on there. And after that, that's it. Open for questions.
All right, open it to discussion at the table, and I'm just gonna go down the table, someone else.
Yeah.
No, Councilor Webb, no, good, Deputy Mayor. No, I'm fine, thank you. Mr. Rude, good. Okay, so we have to choose an option, number 7, correct? And, so I have one question, and it goes back to what we passed at, I don't remember if it was council or if it was Monday night today, but or Tuesday night, sorry, last night. Was it last night? It's last week. Procedural bylaw for closed session. So I know does it include board as well?
The procedural bylaw and recording policy is incorporated all.
So it will be recorded. But again, just for clarity, it's kept in case there's an issue, it's not viewed, nobody's going over them, but it's recorded.
The only time it would be released would be if there's an investigation through the website or if it's commissioner. It's more to check the council members and staff. That won't come into place until the earliest, the end of the month. If for the very
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's mine. I didn't see it here and I forgot to ask then if it actually applied to this group as well, because I know we're recording meetings now, but I wasn't sure if that policy followed through for you as well. Thank you for that. Now, I think we all got an email with the wording for number option 3, correct?
Yes, I sent an email out earlier, I believe it's the clerk to figure out the exact wording of it, but basically it was just that there was some consensus amongst the staff, CAO, clerk, and myself on doing the week before the council meeting, which I understand is the last Monday of the month.
Yep.
So we're recommending doing it the Monday before the last.
Right. The wording is a lot less difficult. So, has everyone had a chance or an opportunity to review that? Because it's not the one that's in the package. Councilor Sneal had a chance to review that option as well. Deputy Mayor? Yes. And Mr. Reginald, okay, good. So I think I don't hear any more discussion, but I think the changes, the track changes are what we asked for to be here. I think the group before had consensus on wanting to appoint up to 4 members, if I'm correct, with a minimum of 2, with the ability to appoint up to 4, to choose up to 4. Am I correct in thinking that? So then the wording that's here is everybody's comfortable with the way number 5, right? So +2 to 4 non-voting advisory members. It's one of the changes. I just want to make sure everybody's comfortable with that in the way that that's worded. For a minimum of 2 up to 4. We don't have that. Two open. So you got 2 up to 4. If you can leave it at 2, you can go to 4. Okay. And so then we find ourselves then on number 7 for options 1, 2, 3. So does anyone want to speak to an option Sure. Well, I can do that. Sure.
So I mean, I like the alternative verbiage or the idea, I guess it is of the Monday before the council meeting. But that was a perfect. We're going to be this next step one. It's to this conference as well. So no, I think that pretty. Yeah,
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak to number 7? You have to pick an option, you're all gonna be asked to pick 1, 2, or 3, so. 3. You're comfortable with the way number 3 is as well? Okay, and this end of the table, and Deputy Mayor, Ready, and I also will concur that I am the best with option 3 as well. I think that suits exactly what we discussed at that last meeting as well. So we'll leave that to the clerk to word that out in whatever way it needs to be worded out. Is that good? So do we need a motion then for this one? Is there a motion for approval for this one? Do I just, there isn't any motion, it's on the table, right?
Personally, changes or there's clear direction, so.
So we don't need a motion to approve?
You're more than welcome to that committee approve the court management the terms or.
Okay, so I put up a motion for the approve it with the revised rates. I don't know if we just do that again. Yeah, so you have
No, just in terms of reference attached with your option to option 3.
Okay, so we'd like to I would put forward a motion to accept the terms of reference as attached and use item 7. As our option.
Okay, so does Councilor Ward want to stand here? Seconded by Councilor Martel. Is there further discussion on this? No, all in favor? Good. All right, so year-end report, move on to year-end report. Okay, how do we want to do year-end report?
Well, basically, I thought we left it, the last meeting, so you guys want to review it, and if you have any questions or any comments, this time we were, pretty busy agenda tonight, unless the committee wants us to go through it all, or just to answer questions if there are any.
Absolutely. Can we? I know that we want to get on budget, and I know that time is of the essence. Can we take 5 minutes to do an overview of it, just for the, we are being recorded, just for the recording in case media wants any tidbits on it, and that way we give it due. And we also say thank you to the folks that need to be thanked you. I think it's worth just 5 moments. Is that sure? Should we celebrate? We certainly didn't celebrate.
So, the information
Just really
very close. So I'll start it off. I'm going to follow through the actual report. There's anything short version. Thanks. So, we can hear it. So the total for 2022 is 1.360 billion. It's the highest on record for the report in comparative versus revenue of operations for the 46%. So we've got a good trend. It's moving upward. We want to continue that. As far as what we final and part of that there was the marine is the highest as far as time goes. That's because it's all obviously and you can see that it's fairly consistent. It's kind of almost a little bit of a rolling calendar. That's sometimes a little higher in the year. I mean, on the cheapest mode of transport at the time. On the marine business report for the cargo process, this is marine now, we're looking for 352,000. It's an increase of 113,000, 15%, and notably some the mover is up 37%. Great. Big steel project that we're still working on moving out of the quarter. And you can see the graph there and the different commodities that we handle for the numbers from 2004 through 2022. We did a vessel summary to give you an idea of the number of vessels. I think this is similar to our track report that we did to your meeting, but anyway, you can compare the number of vessels for what type of cargo or commodity is brought along. Just some pictures on our bulk cargo showing salt cargo directories on the tank. One on the aggregate payments on the 20th, cruise vessels, project cargoes, lots of measures to the experience by vessel, so on and so forth. And then on page 7, I'm talking about just a summary. We break it down into our salt and grain. Basically, those are our two largest cargoes that we bring in by vessel. So we're going to move on down to the grain business report. And I'll see if we can get Mr. Saunders to give us a condensed version.
Great sense.
Or any grain will ship break. Why was kind of break this down? We expected higher yield on wheat, and probably more expensive. Then the soybean harvest was delayed by a week, one and 2 weeks, and the next was just one. Very, very good year. Again, the challenge with soybean issue is that about base available. Start of the year, we got a very good schedule on that very well. One buffalo from 6 days later, and we'll challenge along because they develop and start the dog back and it carries on down the line. The thing is, that one of the goals is working, we get ship out a little profit in our week towards the end of the year. Again, if you it would have been a little more rare in the industry that that was going to happen. That's probably we can live so good. Got an ideal spring, so we got on that kind of started happy quality. We maintained our quality program and GMP food insurance program. That's a quality program that we have to have when we have a train into Europe. American Council of Food Safety. So we in order to be able to most always going to Europe, we need to have that program. So that's a summary minor where that's at. Ring volume, you can see, we bought receiving orders for your next about 10 years. Keep that kind of eye on. Corn was down. So again, we missed the winter. The corn over started earlier. That's where we corn later. And we kind of missed out on that storage space. So soybean are again was up compared to the previous year. So yields on all three main crops were good. Disappointing. Corn was really disappointing. Probably in the last 5 years, our second biggest yield that we've had, and we at least the bottom. Yeah, we can quick start on page 11. It shows the soybean this thing as the volume that we handle. Corn is number 3, but just number 2. And we were up 2022. Finished off, kind of give you a kind of a picture of where the grain is at over years. Down slightly compared to 21 last year, but still a good year. You look at back and then the thing with the non-GMO corn, I think you get the local processor. They're happy with the service, and then we'll continue that. Okay, capital projects. 1.981 million, so it was a light year, but keep in mind, year before that, we had our spout project and so on, so it was a lot of money spent that year, and we had a bigger year, of course, this year with our budget. We did the bin over there in Thunders, we did the paving, we're completing this year. We have our new roof, we got our windows, completed this, last week. We have our HVAC units, sampler, if you have any individual questions with this, let me action on going fairly quickly. And that's the kind of donation report, still all the fun stuff like that.
And then we can try to board this, it's an ongoing path, engineering the building that's getting close to 100 years old. So it's a never ending thing, this kind of just gives a summary, so that not everything that we do in the year, kind of, synopsis of the thing, so it's everything from our temperature tables to our fractional meal. Inside, we have to look out their dryer, we have to stop the blockers, the buckets, the belting, we look out the scale control. And any kind of program that moves, we will pay for that. We did have some video on the website contractors, again, we want to take your authority to do a couple of inspections a year. So I'm going to avoid taking on the permit regulations. Certified workforce. You deliver the training after the training, space. We have a company that certified on pushing and lifting equipment. Anyway, and we have Schneider, we can know how to transfer water and do more. But in our health and safety training, for again, we use computer works with us for years. The ones with the both health and safety work. Yeah, we go over on safety committee. We're staying on track and meeting our objectives. We have the annual we have a prevention program as part of the requirement. Again, he reviews he's updated on any new changes of the requirements going forward. And he's with 50 days and for our combined space, that's what they on that as well. Environmental programming and also what took the salt management program is inspection records and the meetings with NACP. I keep wanting to call them a lead, but NACP. And then we have the health bodies, our methods, the number of health things we have here, we do 1 a month. The special safety committee members we were doing fire space permits with John. The 3 incidents we had no loss on. That was the biggest one. We got 2 years in a row and no loss time.
On the financial side of things, successful year. Detailed in the graph and the document, you can see the growth for experience. The record in 2022 increased 20%. We had 21% over 2021, 122% of the 2015. So fairly everything's moving in the right direction. On page 20 is the quarterly summation of the budget compared to actual. You can see sometimes we're off, sometimes we're really close. But if you look down at the different years, you can see the wide fluctuation, and that's important to understand as we get into the budget discussion because we have a wide variation in those months. When you look at our surplus in the first quarter of 2021, we're minus 108,000. First quarter of 2022, we're up 177,000. So there's a big fluctuation. A lot of that has to do with, for example, this year we're having a good start. We talked about in the manager stuff before. We had 3 salt vessels that showed up in early January. It should have been December. And then a great example of revenue is moving over to the new year versus being in the previous year. So, I'm just trying to, you know, as you go through this and look at these different years, you can see the wide areas, and that's just the nature of our business. And the rest are just more about highlights. We got our first festival of the year, and just so you know, I'm counting the first three fall festivals as last year. It's not been this season, so we did the first festival of the year. I'm going to share the call, and you know, we'll be doing that, the Seaway Open Park from the second February, and we're having election, so you know, we'll probably see the rest of the city and see one again in March. So other than that, there's some, you know, some good highlights. We were different. We got the Colin Act, we got the military privilege show, and the other 900 show, which was went very smoothly. We've got some port tours. As you can see, more Mr. Saunders walking over through the iron and all right. And we've got talk a little bit about community funding. We got some pictures on that. And I'm just going to keep flying through here, more donations. We got the Fort Town Charity Run, which is kind of thoughts within the Fort Town. There are two records. You guys should have looked at town.
Not better. Not better.
Great. Be there. Really nice playing. Of course, I own that mountain. Very tired. Yeah. Some gift cards. If you'd like to get into work around the house, and that's a people good. And then just my year-end review. Thank you to everyone. That's as quick as we get through this, Mayor.
That's perfect. We had such a fantastic year, and so.
I guess you want to share it off. 3 years longer. Job well done. I love to see harbor service. We see them keep going up and up every year. Really happy to see that. Our grain services. I mean, we, like you said, all cases of remote Michigan. Done practice. Got to take go to farmers that I hear probably more than you guys because where I am wasn't there. But overall, I've talked to many big farmers and they say, hey, love comes to the board for business. So when I hear that, sure, maybe we have to train you guys know that. Maybe you have to, maybe you don't. I'll leave that in your hands. And all I can say is that job well done. I'm hoping instead of 10, maybe 10, 9, well done, guys. Well done. Thank you for all your well done. And staff like Steve here. Great job, guys.
Good. That Councilor Moore.
No, I mean, it's a celebratory year. There's great numbers and, you know, I think, I echo so far what you said so far. And, you know, I do also want to add, we can compare up this a little bit, if I do, but, you know, I think it's fun. Should also be where your responsiveness that, you know, a new council, some new requests we've had, you guys are responding to it, giving us, you know, updated information, change some of the ways you do stuff. I appreciate that. So thank you very much for that as well. Thanks a lot for doing that. Keeping us up to date about doing the right stuff. It's the stuff we do. So thank you.
Me, I feel the same way. I just want to say that as a newcomer, just being a regular citizen, this has really opened my eyes. I'm really impressed with the way it's run. You guys do a fantastic job. It's too bad more people didn't understand what goes on over there. It's been a big part of the township. So congrats on that job.
Thank you. I certainly will echo the three councillors and the deputy mayor
in all of their comments, and to thank you to the staff, or the management staff, and to the work staff as well. I think everyone is part of this. Congratulations on a record year, fantastic year in many ways. Revenue, surplus. Even keeping expenses where expenses need to be a record amount, also given back very generously to the township for capital projects as well. So recognizing that, I also think something that we don't often talk about is the stewardship of the port, and the donations that it gives out, the donations that I think of former Councillor Snail and the Angel Tree, and how much that program means to families in our community, and how much it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but helping that program that is all just done by community donations and the hard work that Councillor Snail puts into that program, and how much that helps kids that wouldn't have a Christmas have a Christmas. I mean, we talk about millions of dollars and stuff, and that donation is one fantastic donation that helps out so much. So I'm getting a little teary with that one, but it's stewardship like that we are very fortunate in our township to have this facility, this port that generates revenue that most places don't have, and we're able to give back in ways that a lot of communities can't. And I think it's crazy that we don't take the time to recognize that more. It's amazing that we do it. You're be commended, your groups commended for the hard work that they do. So awesome. Yeah, that's what I have to say. Good. So review, interpret, and receive, right? Or what?
We would share. Go back
So we need a mover for what the clerk's going to read. I think it's review and interpret. Because I think we receive and interpret. Review and interpret last time. So receive and interpret.
So those received at the last meeting, you can potentially receive it if the government submitted to you. So you're now, you've already received it, you're.
So a motion to receive and interpret. Is that one and two? No, it's just number B. Yeah, just the year and everything. Moved by Councilor Martin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh. All in favor? Good, well done. So surplus management fee as per materials in the package. I think, do you want to speak to that?
Well, we at the last meeting said we should move forward with this meeting, but there really isn't anything prepared for it other than to have a discussion on it. My thoughts on it, I can share those are the surplus is a decision that's going to be made in November for December's, to look at where we're at that point, and hopefully we're in a really good position and everything looks fine at this time for that surplus. We've included it in our budget. Budget our numbers. Of course, you're going to look at things at that point and make a decision. You have to be the committee to make a decision for the surplus. For the management fees, more of a fixed cost and expense. That's again, you can deal with that when you get to that line in the budget discussions tonight under revenue expenses, and then we can just move on and deal with that.
So then let's move on and see. There's no motion or recommendation or anything that needs to come out of item C. We'll review it again in November when it's time for that whole discussion, and we'll review the bill and stuff as per the budget. Good. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to 8A then, to the operations manager, your report for
It's over $79 metric tons. It's a little lower than the average, compared to the previous year. The year. We did receive a little bit of rain off of this day and not being. We should have a total of $17. The majority of the we had an ISCC audit on the 18th of January. Again, just a recap, ISCC is a unemployment management program. It's kind of goes in line with the small line. They're changing the environment, their expansion is going to very high rate on home. We should the year. And then they do only year, some certification. That comes to the FFCC. We're hoping going down the road that there is some recognition of some standards, hopefully recognize the GMP plus. And then nobody check on that information. What do you do to modify this and see it and say nothing ever doing? So 2 hours a day, I would consider because the teams are covered everything on the BBC, you follow for sure that we get here. I'm hoping I get this to then time spent here and I'm looking at the year trying to budget. And then it's probably more than maintenance again, and then looking at this is the time where the overall equipment, the dust bank will the source. Really there. Most likely, yes, that's one of the jam. We're having a little bit more work in the country. Yeah, years. I'm going to continue to work on the future automated computer system. Seems to have a little bit of but and they're thinking of the deal. There's the
Good, thank you for that. And I think we'll save all of them. We'll do A, B, and C together. So then let's move on to, sorry, are there any comments or questions to the operation manager's report?
Yeah, so thank you. I just see that you really cleaned up our soybean input. That's amazing. Very little left in there. And our corn is the corn that we have in there, is that for the greenfield ingredient or is that for growers?
majority of this.
And then let the and our monitor, I just have that one, you're saying that your green temperature monitor system is somewhat intermittent. Intermittent in what way?
They removed, they were ability to read on some of them. They were over 200 counter cables in the main building. There would be a section of 30 level. If you pick up right away, you set us back on. Not supposed to be that way.
No.
And I'm not going to transport it.
Oh, good, thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I think that's a good question. Having America's now, so that obviously we're one of those right away because there's a risk to be under heat or under the product.
I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
Just like a free for the kind of thing.
But I suppose you can't. So, but yeah, so okay, so always fun to try and find those what's going on there, right? So.
I just have two comments. One, thank you for doing more. Not having to not seeing it there. And, the second would be, and it probably, goes back in minutes, but, the guards, that we talked about, last time, did they get replaced? Yeah, so, those are my two ones. I forgot to, bring them up. So good. So moving on then to, the general manager's report on the traffic report for June.
Thank you. For a great start of 2023, surplus of 125,000, revenues of 491,000. This is an increase over 22. Vision early harvest services, we saw that received in January due to delayed weather. Relatively local time increase in January due to the continuation of the sale. Expenses were 366,000 for the month, which is over Tuesday's numbers by 58. And this is due to the carryover of seasonal employees and benefits. Due to staff holidays being paid in January instead of the summer. Management fees are payments at this point are $74,000, of which we transferred $67,073 as of the end of January. Our receivables are in good shape. And for business reports, this keeps showing up on our report every month, but it is not for our department. So the report will be released for our March meeting. Our steel pipe project continuing is 7% has been transferred. We're expecting 2 weeks to do this. In our POJ warehouse, unfortunately, we did have the first pipe cost flooded. Or we were a little lucky in that there was a lot of it in the warehouse area. And there was some line damage and there was some trouble on the honest pictures. So we definitely agree it was the manager. Yeah, she's holding building. Now I can report that all the property units have been placed. Bringing cement bags from Turkey, and now on Saturday or 30 minutes and bring we get several of these. We have to know what's going on. We do have to go through the whole process, and so the models for Steve or is one that we take bag or really one that the ships or year. So if we're to come through, they need storage. Storage building. Storage building. We for the business along makes sense. So we kind of talk about how a little bit. But now we're kind of looking because there's a new company and he was saying that you can only look at 2 years at a time. There's no way $300,000 for a 2-year agreement. And not knowing who the company is and so on. You get a lot of entrepreneurs trying to get into the business. So it's basically you're gonna have to build out. We're not gonna finance it. So they're looking at another alternative now, maybe just keeping them on pallets and putting them in a pilot. So it's still moving along, but right now Steve so they're just offer that property at a certain price we should probably go. Of course, we've been working on whether it's for the next meeting, financial law, still going back and forth. A lot of it, so thank you very much. Thank you for that. And thank you to the public. Actually, appreciate the work, a lot going into these files, that file, I want this and want that. It's a lot, there you go. Yeah, I think the great opening course back to there. I really enjoyed the, I brought my grandkids there, years old, players from my couldn't get them there. So that said it all for me. I don't know how much to the adults are reading the information about the park. You might get books, reading and so on. It's all good. It's all good. And the ICP, inspection of the Ports self-management, on February 10th. It was an interesting meeting. We ran on the inspection, the meeting inspection. Because basically went through and said that there's guidelines coming, there's acceptable levels of fluoride going into the river. And these guidelines are going to have it, and you're going to get you 6 months and come up with a way to started seeding those levels, which we know what makes we do is see those levels. That is when it does, with our detention pond, the gathers involved, does discharge, which is not continually. The whole plan is to keep it there, and then the water goes up a little bit because of rain or whatever. It cycles into the river, and it gets diluted through the amount of water that's there. And that was all worked out by engineers and all that. But at the time, I think, NOE at the time, they were basically not sure what. So yeah, put in a retention pond. And now they've done this in different places, and now they're going, okay, well, we don't like the fact that that's going into the river anymore. And so we don't know what's ahead. We do know that we're over the limits, and where they're really pushing the cities and so on is to build depots and covered storage, and not just covered storage of the salt, but covered storage so trucks can go in and they can handle the salt inside. So that creates I have to bring trucks in and front loaders and all that. It's a lot bigger storage. I can't even imagine something like that on a port dock. Build something that big for salt. You know, a commodity that we get $1.30 a ton for. It's not like grain and we're getting $12 a minute, right? So you gotta look at the logistics of that. So I'll report back on where this is going to go. At this point, you know, we talked to different companies, we started with Broadville, and we also deal with Blue Metric is the consultant. No one has a solution. You only get salt or water, and you must spend enormous amounts of electricity and money to do it through reverse osmosis or whatever you want to do. If there was an easy way to do it, believe me, everybody would do it. So this is difficult MECP. You want to come up with these numbers. You guys have to meet them, and that's great to do it. Right? So that's the support you get that. It's up to you to figure out a way to do it. Right? So the only change that I see is coming up with numbers for all of us, which is a step in the right direction. But who did they involve when they came up with these guidelines? Did they all sit in the room and go, oh, look, where is it before in this part and that? And come down. Tomorrow doesn't involve any people, or any, you know, any public entity. I don't know what the story is, but I'm somebody who, you know, the way that it's written, and I'll email it out, so you have a copy of that. But we're not really going to do it in these people. So a lot of the explanation on that one, but it's something that you need to be aware of, because it is, you know, a liability, you know, potential. And at this point, I mean, everyone in the same boat as we are, they need the salt. Ministry of Transportation, another department wants the salt. They don't want it to come in, you know, they don't want to suddenly move over the truck. And even if they bring it in by truck, it still has to go somewhere and be stored up. So that's a continuing issue that we're more than. Other than that, there's some drafts to look at, and that's basically my report. No questions.
Thank you, Dina. Very much appreciated. Start, Councilor McDonald. One question? No,
I just had a couple, steel pipe project, you say in your revenue and expense on our budget for 2023 that you, haven't, there has been not confirmed. Is this where it has anything confirmed now? No, nothing yet? No. Okay, and the cement bed, Major Smith seems pretty cool. I hope we can do something there with them. Somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's weather sensitive, so,
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so the idea of putting it on the ground. How it's, I mean, it's potentially, I mean, you have to back them up there, you need a crane to get them off, you can't do this, and one of them, and then we see. So there's a lot to look at, and the only thing I can is that they're pushing it too quickly, because they want April, and they just don't see them being set. But after we get that a lot, we learn all the things. We're educating them on, we'll see where it goes.
And I just have, the salt management, right now, we have the 72 hours on the record.
It's 5 to 7 days, for the transfer, it depends on, but I think you're right there with 3 days.
And then, so his beef is, we have salt there all the time, that's his beef.
No, not really, it's just his, I don't know if it's his beef, there's levels of salt brine coming out of our ponds, discharging into the ditch and eventually making its way to the river that's higher than higher than the numbers flat.
No,
They're not going continuously, they're being, and so far that's worked for us, so.
now, I'm killing this there again, go on. But the conveyor going from the ship over to Rio Ball, where, and it saves us from loading there.
Yeah.
The truck and going across the road.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Anything is possible for the money.
At least you didn't lie.
No. No.
I think
Enormous
it's
amount
not
of-
up to. No,
Well, yeah, we're on a collecting.
Yeah.
A little bit different, but this conveyor,
yeah,
right?
it eliminates traffic on this road, I'm always predicting someday. There's gonna be something there, that needs to solve from right from the ship over to you, all, just a thought.
Yeah. No.
Thank you.
So we're like the deputy mayor just threw me a long ball there, so what is our salt revenue, if you will, how much we make on salt, I guess that's, revenue versus expense, what's the problem with all that here? And I guess, yeah, and I guess it's not, maybe it's.
We got a dollar for
But I guess what it comes down to is, if they put too much of a restriction on there, what point is it not worth it?
Absolutely, that's basically our stance is at some point, and I don't know if they care. So at some point, it's like, listen, where it's not worth it to us, like at 500,000 tons, use that as your average. They're about 30 ton, right, 650,000, you get some burger from ship costs. You might be up to, 700,000, all said and done, or you're going to invest $5 million, we live there. And it's a good point, it's something we continually have to look at and make sure it's with our partner. Continue to bring it in. The more they push into the corner of things, it's easy to say do this, but we don't do anything we're doing, how do we do it? The technology, they're not saying it's not. It just would be so expensive. That you wouldn't do it to the point. Too much money. More motivation.
I guess that's where we're still going, and, I know obviously there's another. Stuff that, bring to us at some point, which is great, so,
I just have one question, rookie here, because I was just inquiring. On the top of your business report, it says, collective bargaining. When you guys go to collective bargaining, do you make the final decisions or does it?
No. That's a good one. No, that's a good question. It has to be ratified by both sides. So it goes to their membership, it comes to this committee, and I believe potentially the council could be pretty good.
Thank you for the report to the end. It's like we're starting the year off on very good foot. So, health and safety report. Health and safety.
Yeah, there's could be, if you're going through and, yeah, activities one time every year, we're gonna. Information. Information plan as well. We've done some planning sessions. We're gonna go on. We're doing the ACP, as well, we're gonna be able to- all of them come out, all of them, preservation.
Okay, we're gonna go across the table, I'll just ask, does anyone have any questions regarding the ACP report? Counselor Smith? Counselor Smith? He wasn't.
I've got one question. I was reading through it today and noticed that you're sending people for fine space training. Is there nobody down at the elevator shaft?
Or we're all. We're doing.
Oh, you're gonna Yeah.
Two components to it, how it, performance fine space. Last year, we did the fine space, rather than the this, okay. Okay, well, I mean, we were sort of two separate things that I want to say, but everyone has the. Fine space,
I'm a little confused on this.
Can you certify him and tie him up by the ankles and drop him down into your girls, everybody else?
I've never done it.
Did you move to good? Good, I'm fine, thank you. Shoot, I have a question in my, it was going back. And it's gonna come to me as soon as we pass these reports. Mr. Lewis, do we, as, he's the. I just. Did we heard from him this year? No, that's not really, yes, no, we know if you're interested in doing that yet. Sorry, I'm sure it's going back to the net.
But I don't know if it's back with what now doing the whole thing, there's issues there. Remaining some.
Yeah.
Issues we have.
I think it's another one of those good.
Yeah,
You know, it's not like being involved in it, so.
Yeah, and it's interesting seeing a little. What it's popular. 4 years old and permanent water. It's pretty neat.
There was about being around. Maybe some people are, but not all. Might be worthwhile having a conversation again. So I need a motion to approve items, seven, I think we're on seven, no, we're not. Items A, the operation manager's report, B, the general manager's report, with the traffic report as well. And C, the health and safety report. Can somebody move that for me? So, moved by Deputy Mayor Dillawas, seconded by Councillor Smale. All in favor? Good. Well done. So now the fun stuff begins. Item B. 2023 budgets. Here we go.
Okay, we're gonna start with information on how we put this together. So we have our revenue tax summary, package that we issued out, and we also have the revenue tax budget. We will need to have some of the larger numbers and has some graphs. So those are the two documents we're gonna go through right now. Starting off with the budget 2023 revenue summary, and we'll start with our revenue. And just to give you sort of overall thoughts on the revenue, as I mentioned before, you're looking at how you think it's going to happen in a year. If, for example, you get to the steel and got pressure, you're going to get some of it in there. It's kind of something that you could look at it as maybe a little conservative. One consider a little more conservative than you are. So on the first page, we it really depends.
If I'm just gonna let I'm just gonna let you go. If committee members have questions, do you want them to just then, or do you want them to save it until we get?
I would do it as we're going.
As we're going, that way we can go through it.
And I'll do some pauses. And
So committee members, if you have questions, just don't talk over each other, but just say GM and go, you know, you can go.
We're on the ground.
And campus detail, is that the one where you
No, we're going to summary, but we're gonna refer to that if you want more to do this.
Yeah, you're good to go. Sorry for that.
So my worries. So we're starting on with the review now, it really depends on the scale, it depends on more of the scale, if you look at basically the average. What we budgeted, in 2022, we're saying 140,000. If we were to get, you know, the same amount of steel books and so on, we could get the 196. But if we don't, you know, we're gonna be more than that. So that's what I was we basically use the same as our budget for the next two lines and warning drain mortgage. The drywall workage, we're talking about 550,000. The reason why I'm using a lower number is because of the amount, the large amount that we got last year, usually it's followed by a lower amount in most cases. If you look at across the street, there's still a lot of salt there. There's some winter left. Thankfully, all the salt from the port dock is almost all gone. All we have left is cargo salt, and that's going to start doing next week. We have a little pile of chemical salt and the middle of the dock and the different dock, and that will definitely be gone before the end of the year. So we put 550,000, which is higher than the budget we did in 2022, but it's taking into consideration we might not have salt. On the break bulk, again, it depends on the steel. We budgeted 17.5 in 2022. We're budgeting 30,000 this year. We're at 78,000. Again, are we going to get 30,000 tons of steel? That's good. That remains to be seen. Liquid bulk, we had a lower year last year. We're planning on building a new tank this year. 28 may be aggressive to bring in that many 2 or 3 barges, but hopefully we're going to get back to where they were prior to the issue with the tank. So the tank is there. We're going to be building a new one. That will possibly another one beside as well. So we want to continue to expand the business and so on. So that's what's going on there. Cruise vessels, we not expecting any cruise vessels at this point. That's not to alarm us. You can get last minute requests, but the Ocean Explorer, I'm not sure the shipping company would do the Ocean Explorer cruise, Kennedy, McLean Kennedy. They sent me an email, they'd already booked 2 days and they canceled the boat and they're going to Keystone. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But I mean, we normally don't get called away at this time. They're the only shipping company that ever told us, you know, a year one of the. So we could still get some, but it could be a relief from other ports. Maybe they can't get in Kingston, that's happened before. They can do the port, but unfortunately, nothing we can really plan around. Dry bulk cargo storage, again, we should be similar to last year. I had a Saturday cargo 2 weeks ago, and they are confirming that they want to keep salt on the dock, or a guaranteed space for salt on the dock, I should say. Great bulk cargo storage, again, I know it's not a broken record, but this is storage again. The other was workage. This is separate to two, right? So we're going to the same budget as last year, but we could exceed that for sure. So total on the harbor services 1.126, higher than what we budgeted in 2022, but lower, substantially lower than 2022. This is summarized due to the salt and possibility of not getting the steel piping.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
So going back to the miscellaneous wharfage and the cruise boats, the 2610 is what we got paid to have 4 boats.
Yeah.
Stop. That's what we need.
Yeah, we don't get a lot. I know it was passenger, I think it was 75 passengers.
Was there an expense to that for us? No extra security, no extra.
They paid for the
They paid for the.
they make that little money off the security, so it's administration cost for it. We should be onto it. Right. No, there's no cost to it. I mean, other than having work with the cops and stuff, I'm sure that's the cost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it brings attention, but there's not a lot of dollar behind to it. Right. Yeah. Okay. sorry.
Okay, so on the grain services side, again, this is, that's what's here, and, so lower inventories starting off the year, we're already seeing, I'm projecting $65,000 less in storage for the first 3 months. You can see that in the graphs that Mr. Summers showed earlier, that our inventory are lower. But we can make that up. I mean, if that storage can go up, then you could actually get the same amount as 2022. It's kind of an unknown. And if we keep going down there, aeration and so on, we're basically, we get less corn processed in 2022, so it dropped. I'm expecting more corn this year, so it should go back up. Part of receiving and delivering by vessel rails truck, you'll see delivering by vessel rails truck. I'd like to go to like just the total amount of just the receiving and delivering, because we never know when it's going to switch from the truck to the vessel to this or that, you know. When you look at that number that's pallets there, 3,427, that's higher than what we had out of the last year. But I'm confident we're going to get a little more of the corn this year, or others can see something. And so I'm confident that we should be able to surpass last year. Our services were down a little bit, and I think we can make that up. And then we have our grain drying, and that's our corn and so on. We have there, and then we have our soybean drying, which we basically put in a bench, a bookmark there, and that's going to go back to our surplus and where we're at when we get to November. We're going to confirm that number. So the protein analyses are the smaller accounts, and the quality control, I mean, that's pretty much so the total in grain services is 8.121 million. And then we go to our
I guess, Robert, I see you have a sale of grain of $12,000 in 2022 budget, but yet on our 22 budget, I don't see the sale of grain. Well, on my revenue expense on there. And the number doesn't jive. If we're at 12 grand, is that something new that we're putting in? The silver grain?
okay, you just have to fill in a little bit more on your
Grain services, grain service, second quality control fumigation, just supplement, yes. Silver grain, 12,000.
yeah.
Uh,
Trying the total is
4 years, yeah, then you didn't have it last year's budget. I just didn't know, is it something we missed, or is this new? On the silver grain, when I look at my budget of 2022.
I'm not sure, I don't have the budget for 2022, I just have a number here that says 12, I'm talking about last year's budget.
Well, yeah, and if you go 2022 budget, it says $6,926, and here it's $6,908. That's all. I didn't know if you missed the sale of grain. If you look from last year's, that's all. And then we have,
No problem. Yes. I'm sorry.
but
It might have been down, we might have had it included in miscellaneous.
okay,
It's a very small, it's,
12,000, right?
yeah, it's basically like the grain dust and stuff that we now to,
Just our totals, that's on total grain service, 2.5.
and it might have been,
What's that?
Yeah, hopefully the problem, the body is not the day.
Okay, yeah. No, that's not. What I'm saying.
No, I didn't use anything else.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's.
We'll make a note of that and we'll get that.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so
One question on my part. So I'm going to make the assumption the receiving of the vessels is that we're have enough local growers growing non-GMO. Is that, and we're not bringing in from the Midwest?
this is where this is a beauty, to be honest with you, and really happy. Potentially they could, but we're not hearing anything at this moment that they're bringing in.
And that their vessels are the non-GMO. And do we keep?
No,
Oh, it's not, right?
Just regular medium is non-GMO.
Oh, okay.
The normal form, USDA form, which is what we feel will take some time, so they can't get enough local. At this point, we haven't got any indication. There's always potential, sometimes it surprises us, and we'll get two.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll go 3 years and not get any. So
My question with that line item was just, does it require specific storage? Or I think the answer to it is saying it's just US corn, it's not non-GMO, so it doesn't require to be separated.
yes, yes, the US does become separate.
So we have
And they do have to guarantee, part of their guaranteed storage, like allow them to report if they pay more.
Well, I was just also, the $2 million of the soybean fund. That's ability is, somehow some stock in there. What's the capacity of, I don't know, number of silos or percent of the our storage space is being used by that kind of quantity? Is that like 1% or is it 10% right now? Just trying to figure out, is there a time where selling that is better because it allows that capacity to the fall?
That's generally in the fall, with the market.
Again, as far as capacity of our storage, it's like, would it be a small percentage or what are we looking at?
They're very small.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Good.
We'll work on it. We're just going to get it's simple. So we're also going to back again on Bruce Jones Trail across the street, when they used to for, and they've been performing more and more every year. I don't know any idea this year. They're expanding over it as well. I know they're expanding for reasons that have to be. That all depends on the volume of the building. And yeah, I know it's not a broke record, but we very low look at our graphs. Rail is very low for it. This year we're getting some more grain credit, which is great. And then we're staying up at 26 so far this year, great. Most of that revenue is from that scale type project. So we are putting it in the budget. It's one of those leases and licensing, well, this is one of the fixed categories, so this is one kind of bank on where as far as the revenue here goes. So we've got your business property leases, they all have increases in incorporated into the agreements, and then we have a new lease at the warehouse that we recently leased out at February 1, so that's great for revenue. And so we're looking at 618,000, which is a nice number that you're guaranteed to get every year. For not the number we really been working hard to get higher and higher. Love to get to that point where nothing happened before, we'd still be getting enough to get wages, and electricity bills, and all the rest. That's our biggest revenue that we can come up. That was an entire budget. The rest is all subject to the rest. Okay, so that's the total. And that concludes our revenue portion. I'll just keep going into this.
Let me just, before we go into expenses, let me just make sure that anybody has any questions, finish the revenue portion. Does anyone have any further questions to do that was revenue? Kevin, did you want to, Sean, did you want to give Chris a number? I know you have, so 2%. Sorry. I think we're good for revenue. Awesome. Or I mean, we're good for expenses.
Okay, we're going to start with the expenses, and first of all is our labor. You're going to see quite a substantial increase in 2022. We're really short labor, really tough work. At least 3 or 4 bodies that we can get in the labor. We're at a difficult time. Mike is working with the casuals now. Having mentioned, we don't usually have our casuals this time of year, but we have housekeeping to do, we have to get ready for audits and so on. And, we're just short staff compared to the past. Also part of that increase is additional, management, we've been talking about that, and if you look at our org chart, there are positions to fill. We do have, positions there that we need to, one would be like quality harbor master, health and safety, environmental. I'm trying to put together a job description and title for that, but we do have a gap there for security. I do a lot of those things myself, and I try to get different staff members to help, but it's kind of fragmented, and I want to put together and get that more to an individual that's responsible for all those things, because it's getting bigger and bigger, the environmental, all the rest of it. You know, we could use another staff member for that. We also got retro pay this one essentially coming up with the union and the union increase. Wages, so that's all configured into this. It's not detailed, you know, that's the point there, but it takes that all into consideration. Again, I labor, if you have a very busy harvest, we're going to have more overtime, we're going to have more workers there, but we're going to have more revenue. You know, it goes with the revenue. More business, you can see that your labor is not different. But besides all that, we still need more bodies and still going to occur. You see our labor costs. We were in the previous mentally, but we are keeping that category to do it. But really, I think.
Sorry, so I guess there's probably a point of where you get your real crisis point, and I know it's now. When is it really your drop dead? But you know, when is the time when you need to really make sure you have those bodies for the fall season in particular?
Well, we're working really hard to get things in place. We have run some projects that are studied and so on. So we don't need as many people on and so on. We're working towards automation and so on. So we're in a position with voting shifts and so on. We're in a good position if we want to extend our hours shifts, if we want to split the staff up and shifts work longer and things like that. You know, just to get through the day-to-day stuff, we need to have the regular employees there. And I don't think there's critical where the port's going to shut down or anything like that. Tough question to say how many more will have to leave before that will happen. I mean, I think four of us would probably roll up our sleeves and go in there before we get to the critical. You guys over there too. So I guess what I was about with that is, you know, it's a certain point in the year, and maybe we can, I'm not sure, depending on our collective agreement, where we may have to entertain something like you know, a staffing service to help out. Oh, we do a lot of different companies and using different planning agencies for manpower, and we've got 4 different. Mike, you want to touch on this a little bit?
Yeah. Certainly this with this, we've reached basically several appointments, even as far as law, you know, they guarantee them all this year. It just isn't clear. I mean, I will say I'm pretty proud of the staff we have there right now. They do an excellent job. What the numbers that we did. We never reached the level of part-time guys. I mean, I think we have 6 property use 4 more. And that's why we count them on right now. There's a lot of people, we're moving a lot of grain crazy. And now we're trying to get in and clean it all. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that one is either, and everything's running, we have enough to run business, but it's a bit difficult.
So your current hours, how many hours do you do? 40 hours a week? Like, and then when they're.
It's not really, it's seasonal.
Oh, okay. So I just wonder how long you keep them, like, will the same guys come back? Are they looking for a school?
All the time we talk about it. They're sort of really kind of sure probably almost like it's a good job. About 6 hours, something like that. So or doing 20 minutes. It's your chance. So you're looking at making sure you never work every 20 days. make that decision, but they ignore it's too high. Unless we get some spring vessels and they bring some into that. But this year we haven't, so that's just, you know, we're replacing where we usually have full time. Right?
I appreciate the struggle. Yeah.
So that's labor, any other questions on labor? And saying that, you know, anyway. That's fine.
I think, you know, and hearing that, I mean, we are doing the trade show. I know the report's not gonna, you know, they're gonna contribute some material, but not, in the body. You know, maybe we're hiring, you know,
Yeah, that's a good
might be worthwhile. There's gonna be a lot of people go through that arena. There are gonna be a lot of local folks that are going through it.
That's the great script. So,
There you go. And maybe this worthwhile having something that
yeah,
indicates.
Mike and I will check out and you guys. Thank you. That's a good question.
Maybe. Yeah, let's continue.
All right, so we're into the utilities now, and basically we budgeted for 5% increase, 10%, sorry, 10% increase in gas. And some little bit of additional equipment fuel, we're not quite sure there, that's the mobile. The car, that we use, the steel pipe, rail cars and ground, so, again, how much use is there. Outside services, so we're looking at a substantial increase, lower than last year's budget, it's still an increase on 2022, so I think we should know that if we get so it's like we're going to move on detail, but we go to page 5 in the same numbers. And we'll be coming up to page 3, but let's go to page 5. Here are the individual lines that report to outside services to give us an idea of where the money is being budgeted towards. And so for the environmental, we have taking the extension costs. Sorry, just give me 1 second. There we go. There we go. There we go. Just want to review something that I'm serious about. Okay, yeah, see this. Okay, so the comment is totally fascinating. So the breakdown really is to do with 15,000 is for environmental. And I think it's better at this point. I think I'm throwing you off by a comment and I don't need to. So on the other documents, that we have with the breakdown, this one is revenue and expense budget. Here, if you could go to page 4. And it's just a breakdown of the inside. Everybody there, yeah. You can see on the right in bold to the pension fund. It's a common that's level. If you look at the comment below that, you can see that we have $5,000 for the retention fund for flow meters. So we can have an idea of how much water we're leaving going into the ditch. And that's something that I taught them to keep out. We've got 15,000 going to the annual monitoring report. That's something that blue metric, they do all our measurements of the different locations around the port to see the impact of the salt. That's a report, they do an annual report that goes to MECP and it's part of our salt benefit. Fish habitat monitoring. I always put that in because we're sitting down talking about doing some beautification around the port and that, so we always want to budget some money for that. They kind of haven't been successful in getting hold of them in the last 3 or 4 months, even though we keep trying. But you never know when that goes to back. We want to make sure we have some money budgeted for that because we don't want to spend it in the last 2 or 3 years. hasn't been spent. Because they really don't have anything that, ready to go. For example, beautification, erosion control, and stuff like that. You want to get involved. And then some hazardous waste removal, we use more, and then miscellaneous at 3.5. So that breaks down a lot of the environment. There are still following here, detailed part. So I think it's worthwhile when we give some assurances, their biggest, one of our biggest ones. So then we go into our training, and you can see the factors, 15,000. A lot of different training, Mike is looking after this, first aid and, the skids here, we've got a lot of them that can touch on. They're not runners around, but they all have access to a little bit. Quality control, mitigation, they're a little, we try to get a lot of equipment, upgraded this year, so 11,000. I already was up with $16,500, so we've got 3 host meetings and some of them, and so more people in the calendar. On the health and safety, we're having 76, last year was about 79, so pretty flat last year. You can see the breakdown there, very similar to last year. The prevention and regulators, it's anything that's done with you, that's what we use to do our health and safety reports and so on. Then we go down to security. I mean, security is something that we expect from, we also try to get kind of a line that will also benefit in revenue, right? Then we go into the next page 5, we have general, which includes some different things like our licensing, our receiver, general grant license that we have annually. Trucking, we have to adjust. And so on. And basically, again, we're similar to last year, a little below what was actually last year. Housekeeping, basically, speed and so on. We put that up a little bit for an increase. Then we have administration, which includes our finance software, which is Agrisoft, which is new software, and annual fee for that. And break down, like, we have our board fees, and that really depends on how collective bargaining goes. We have any other issues, suppliers, and so on. We feel 30,000 is a safe number there compared to the last year was 31,000. Auditor fees, we got that at 19,000. And we put 10,000 in for marketing consultant. We did that again last year. I like to leave money there in case something comes along where we say, hey, we might want to do some work on our website or whatever, and we've got some money there for somebody to do that. We've got our consultants for GMP.
What is GMP?
That's manufacturing practices.
Sorry?
Good manufacturing practices.
Oh,
So there's annual fees with that was explained in ISCC, the recent one with Greenfield, and we have several of them now, so that's what is allocated to that category. HR consulting, we're not quite sure if we do another study on the salary grid. I know there was some, we did a study before, the township were split on it. I don't know if there may be another one coming up, another look at that sort of thing. I'm not quite sure. So we did put some money there in case there is an effort to relook at that.
Sorry, Jane, which line was that?
That was HR consulting, which is for the administration.
Okay, so there's 7,500 in budget for grid consultation.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. That's good. That's good to know. Thank you for
We have brought the road to do the shots and so on, so we call it. There. You know, our quality controls, when we have a consultant that put $10,000 into on FSF, I'm not quite sure where we're going there, we may need a consultant. So, right, these are all. This doesn't mean we're gonna do it. Keep that in mind, that it's getting something, at least we can go forward as a business and do these things, but I have to stop and then wait for a meeting and do that.
Sorry, before you go a little, just going back one a little bit there, that AgriSoft software, is that the software for running the new grain automation test, or is that something?
No, that's the financial software. The the access,
Sorry, AgriSoft is also for.
You're bringing it over. Oh, over and over.
Got it, okay.
So that was a big change that we made, because we had one individual that looked after that property for us. And so we do, I don't know how old he is now,
that's
mid-70s, so we said, we better get something out there. But once he's gone,
Yeah, for sure. So is there gonna be a software be involved in the new service, the new upgrades, or that's a big? Sorry, is there gonna be an annual software like to run the grain genetic?
That's what they're indicating now. Year to build the whole software and then that's 16,000, our annual maintenance fee with them.
Okay, so it's like automating the bid model.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, so when we do that project, there's probably is there an annual fee for that? No, we put that in, no. Is that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right, so when we have the property engineering, it's money in there as far as, one of the things I want to look at. Potentially taking that building down, it's, not really, I'm in the middle, it's the old little dog, it's nowhere. Installing house for the people, people to get into it. It's something we need to take down, but we can possibly put that. Surveying, has marine surveying, docks, and property. And that's that. Rail maintenance, we have monthly traffic inspections, so we get some money for that. And if anything major for the rail, you usually keep that in the capital, keep that in mind. So we've got some yard, weed control and so on, with our yard maintenance. Under maintenance, we need a couple of awards, some office rentals, nothing to do with our windows, we've got issues, we've got this. And millwright services, we do have, a little bit of a labor issue in our millwright department as well. Our needs, I should say, is we have 2 people that are off right now, so we are going inside for later. We did that last year, it was quite well for us. And sometimes we gotta keep the projects going, so we will bring outside services and help service with projects. And then we go to our electrical, there's the low line there. Equipment repair, these are all smaller amounts. The total is 440,937. So if we go back to page 5 on the first report that we're talking about, you can see that I try to describe the various details on page 5. Are you looking at that one?
Yeah.
And you can see where kind of what, I'm talking there. What is their variance compared to actual budget? I'm going to try to give some of you guys an idea of, 10,000 is engineering and salt on Microsoft, around 50, equipment calibration 11, license fee 16,000, inflation on everything. So to try and give you an idea why did it go up? What are the differences? We'll just showcase those. So that's the outside services. For any questions on outside services? All right, it's one of our data lines. I'll try and use slide analysis to drive it. It's important to get a good understanding. Materials and supplies, that's 193,200. And for that, we go on the same document, we go to page 6. And so, we've got the first, and so we'll stick with this document, but if you want to go into even more detail, let me know, and we'll get questions from the other document. For now, we'll stick with this document. Okay, we have no question. So we're on page 6, on materials and supplies, quality control and lab supplies, a little bit more than last year, 1,500 versus last year's 1,099. Dock maintenance, so this is, we started this last year, and we're putting more aggregate rock on a closure berm. We do get erosion from St. Lawrence. We want to make sure we keep an eye on that. We did some of it last year. We're going to continue this year. I figure with the 16,000, we should be able to get the rest of it done. This year. Housekeeping supplies, these are all very minor. Quality control, health and safety supplies, 12,500. General supplies, radios, bus filters, replacing some of the bin temperature cables and so on. Shop materials, electrical material and supplies. And maintenance material and supplies, aerators, drying material and so on and so forth. DOJ warehouse, 35,000, first pipe, new floor, maybe a little more than that. It's the morning loan we have today is $10,000.
Was it an insurance claim? Sorry.
No, it's local.
It's 58 for the.
No big money.
Or 58 for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just like. So we want to go to a part of break of this gentleman on the maintenance of your. I appreciate it.
Any more questions with it before we move? Yeah, I just have one. One engineer. Small. We have no money. Engineer development.
We're back to the website services.
Yeah, sorry, page 5.
Yep. So we're.
It's have engineering and grant, no for engineering development.
No, right. I mean, I don't, a lot of the times are, we'll put money in there and then it turns to a project and it goes ends up.
Well, yeah, because like the reason why I'm saying this, when you go to your capital, $15 million for our port dock repairs and another 20 million for our elevator dock.
Yeah.
I would have thought maybe it's an engineering report, so that we.
Well, we're not.
What we're gonna do, since we need studies anyways. right?
Yeah, I understand. This is a very good point. But we're not looking at doing that this year.
Okay.
I mean, we shape it far enough down the road, but we want anything right this year. What we will do this year, is under the surveying, is get some divers in to take a look at the wall again. But as far as getting going on a project that amount for those docks is down the road, I just want to give everyone an idea that eventually they need to be done, because all other docks were. So keep it in mind for down the road, but we would be looking at some heavy financial assistance during this stuff, like we did with the other docks.
I just thought maybe we would look into that.
Well-
Some money away for an engineer this thing.
So I did just wanted to, we can only do so much when it's not together, so I'm gonna be just correct this.
Thank you, aggressive.
So I'm gonna go back to page 3 on expenses on the documents. And we're gone through our outside services and material supply, and then we have our advertising, donation, sponsorship, membership, and for promotions. So there's the advertising, a little higher than last year, not last, pretty much the same budget as we did in 2022. Our donation, so there's been some changes to our donation sponsorship that we're discontinuing the community funding. So we're redirecting some of that money towards other donations and towards potentially our port promotion. You see that going way up for Port Day. If we decide to do Port Day this year, I put 15,000 towards that. When we did the original Port Day, it's pretty close. It's not a cheap thing to do, especially if you get someone that help you. You probably did it the first time. We didn't do that the second. So we're looking at potentially doing this year. You don't know if it will be successful. So we'll see what we do. So we've done some movement in the condition. Because we passed, I believe, and this is to the clerk. We passed it, I believe, a lot of the resolution. I'm hoping we don't. If we're going to change something, what to do with the community planning. And I heard pretty much consensus that we really don't want to go forward anymore. We did originally say 5, now it's going to be 3, so I don't think we have to pass anything, Rebecca, to change that. Because originally it was approved in 5 years.
So through the chair, we're going to, vote for approval. We- that, we have to include that program. Come back to the measure.
So for this meeting tonight, that's something we should probably have an agreement on, have a motion, if that's something you want, because I don't have community funding in budget. So we don't agree that we're not doing that anymore, which is what I'm going to be understanding, maybe, then we'll have a person motion, and how this can be.
And it's not included in here.
And it's not.
It's not, and
It's
so,
being corrected.
so what would that motion read? Because I'll have to do that later. So motion to remove the last two, the final 2 years of community.
Of the community funding.
We had 5 years or 3 years.
We have 5, we've done 3.
Okay, that's it.
Oh, I know it's. Policy. So is that something we want to do now, or we gonna wait till after? The best we wait till we're done? Yes, I'm sorry.
Everybody's moving back. It's funny a lot.
Everything else.
Let's see what other changes if any come up and then go from there.
Okay, so then we're going to go to, rentals, pretty much the same as last year. Business travel, a little higher in that we haven't been going on many trips and doing anything because of the pandemic, so we've increased that somewhat. Office admin for computer services and so on, there's been some increases in there. Our insurance, it's kind of an unknown, we're waiting to get the final amounts in for insurance, but I'm kind of expecting a 10-15%. Keep in mind that your insurance does go up as your revenues go up, so it's kind of like, great, you're getting lots more money, but you do get hit on your insurance because of that. And then the municipal honorarium, 250 per meeting, and then the municipal administration fees, hell, whatever we want to call it. So that includes, you just bear with me for a second. Okay. So that includes. Okay, so there we go. Okay. So last year, what we have here is that 1378636. So that this year, the budget has, we put for surplus 586,000. And for the management fee, we had it at 804,875. That's what it is currently. That is part of the 1.5% per year of the previously agreed, not to say that it's any change, but previously agreed to that. So that's what we're recommending there is 804, 875 for the management fee, and then 586 for the surplus, which will be determined in November. So total would be 1390875. So that was where we were going to stop for a minute and have a discussion on, I believe, the fixed management fee.
Mr. Valley administration fee, right?
Yes, sir.
And I wish we could separate that, like call the 5 8. My suggestion is, do you mind with your? Is a Port of Johnstown capital 586. In other words, from the soybean drying.
Two lines there.
Yeah, see, I'd like to have maybe the Port of Johnstown capital. Myself, I like to take the 1.5 out, we're up to 804, I'd like to round it off to, that's my suggestion. Here, go from 804 to million, no more than 1.5, no, no, that's it, that's all. So in other words, every year, we budget for 1.585 to the point, or to the county for this fair.
For every year. See, one's fixed, and one is based on the surplus.
That's right, we got to 1 million is fixed and no more 1.5. The capital, it depends on our year, right? For
And right now, we put up, we budgeted for 586 on that.
yeah, I'm pleased with 585 myself, but I know. Consider people up every year. It's my lot.
So just so I'm correct, the pill, which we'll call the payment in lieu, right, which is been sort of going up by 5%, which would be 804, 87.
Currently issued.
Right. And so
back on my list for the new letter here, when we did ending the arena agreement, paying money towards the arena, we had frozen the bill, the integration fees, right? For the length of time, because we were giving 630,000 something like that towards the township pay for the agreement, for the payments and so on. We froze it at that time, and a year before that agreement ended, we put a new agreement, a 10-year agreement, 1.5% per year, which was approved for a 10-year period, right? So I just want to give you the background of where we ended up with the 1.5%. Okay. So how far is we are at the third year of the 1.5% increase.
yeah, I think the goal, I think ultimately at the end of that goal, if you look at the 1.5% increase, when it compounds, it takes 10 years and it gets to that $1 million in 10 years. 2029, I think is the right year. Yeah, I think it's 2029, it gets to that, it gets us to that. I looked at those going.
That's your ultimate, if you want to get to, which is
Compound. Yeah, because it takes the 1.5 compound, it takes 2029.
I mean, it's totally up to me. This is what I'm recommending. I look at expenses that you need to keep a crap on them to put a 20% increase into your fixed costs like that. Not something that I would ever recommend. I'd rather leave it in the surplus so that if you're having a good year, you have more money to give to the township for worthwhile projects, capital projects. But if your decision as a committee, then go to council on that. It's what we recommend.
I think the way for the new folks at the table, I think the suggestion of an increase to get us to the $1 million now gives us that stable number, that number that we know for sure that we get, as a payment in lieu every year guaranteed, so that if there is a year in which we don't realize any excess inventory and there is nothing, then we're guaranteed that we know going into the township budget that there's going to be $1 million in that. And then maybe there is a 535, right? There is the potential. I know moving forward for the next couple of years, it sounds like that number is going to be pretty stable. But who knows? What the increase from the 804 to the 1 million is, it gives that guaranteed 1 million number no matter what, and it keeps that for consistency over the 4 years, so that when township staff are forecasting what the pill is going to be, and they're trying to do that, as the Treasurer Nicholson will do for our 2024, 25, 26 budgets when we get those next year.
they're gonna forecast us out 2, 3, 4 years. He'll know, when he does that the bill's going to be, he won't necessarily have any green revenue to count on, until November of that year. So
That's all for the next year.
well, he'll be doing that recurring. So we had moved on what that number will be or if that number is. So, but he will know that the 1 million is.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
And I think some of the information that we brought up. There was a question that you brought up, that if we were under the enterprise fee below 100,000, the comment was made, would be 750,000. What it actually would be, so that's something that we want to members understand that we're trying to, what you get in and it's my opinion that you get probably know what you get. Once you're getting the taxes, all companies are at. Which I don't want to try to deny information. But he's been weighing it, not criticizing. I think it's important information, but report is giving to the township on these other companies of the board. Small companies basically leasing asphalt parking lot and paying pretty heavy taxes towards the township. That's all part of what you're getting for. So something to keep in mind. And your decision, I think that the conversation is discussion with you, we put forward a recommendation, and if you want to change that, and that's, you don't have to talk me into it, it's more, it's more for yourselves, it's kind of very what do you want to do?
So, I just mentioned the past, right? So we know the 2023 is going to have a lot of problems. 2024 will be 816 and on 28, 25. To take the million now to see we can't predict that. I just did on my phone, so I'm saying. So we can't predict it. And I'd rather, from the perspective of this, we assume that we're getting these numbers here in the township budget, which I know not this topic. And then if we get a surplus, we figure out as a then for the next year. I don't think we want to recognize it early, because if we have some sort of catastrophe report and that doesn't materialize, then that's budget's all of a sudden. That's my mistake. I didn't predict it. If it's a really near year, then it's 1.5 million by an extra bit surplus.
We need some further discussion, I think, around rounding. Need you guys to know.
Well, one of those comments that. Also, the answer to the girl, I seem to know what's going on here. I'm leaning more towards.
We're gonna have to make a decision here, so at some point you're gonna have to speak.
I'm just wondering.
I think, yeah, I think we're all gonna find out. I think those, when folks, a long time ago made the decision to buy the port, it did, a fantastic move for our township. Made an investment and took a small chance, and they took over something that the feds and nobody else could seem to make a profit running. And I think, we just looked at a record year last year, $10 million. That's fantastic. That, we have a facility that helps, that's owned by our town, it's owned by the taxpayer. They made the investment, and if they continue to make these investments, we hire staff to make those investments on their behalf. And you guys, not excluding Rhonda, when I say guys, that's a blanket, and everyone that works there does their job. They do it fantastically. I think you all know how much I respect the work that you do and how much you care about the facility that you run. And I respect that we're here by representatives of the folks that, you know, they're the investors, they're the ones that own. You know, the corporate entity. So for me, putting that amount back in, I already spoke to the stewardship. I think, you know, the promotional work that you do is outstanding. I think the commitment to the community in terms of, you know, Legion Roof, Legion Carpet, awards for, you know, through those community capital funds, I think that's, you know, to be commended. It's also, you know, fantastic the work that was into, you know, doing what we did, Ball Diamonds, dog park. There's so many things we can count that the board's contributed to, and I think that's good. And recognizing how difficult some of those community grant programs were to run, and to administer and to go through, by making an increase, we're getting rid of that $75,000 line item. And we're asking for a $190,000 increase to the hill. You know, in theory, that 75 would, you know, go back into some of that hill, and it would, you know, continue to do things like that. Or at least that's my hope, that group that round table would sit and help, you know, offset increases to taxation and continue to support good investment in our township and in our folks. So for me, looking at that, I know and we've had this discussion at the county's council. I don't know how much all of council's aware of it. I know the deputy mayor's aware of it, but our township's going to be paying for long-term care. It's being built in Athens. That's going to result in a 2.5% increase to our area's, you know, residents' taxes. We're going to be paying for the United Counties Road in Kennethville, the expansion of Highway 43, which is going to add another 1% to that, and then there's going to be a dedicated capital levy that's because the counties has fallen behind in taxation on levy increase for you know, for roads, and so that's going to be levied this year. It's going to come out as I think the staff and the county's done a fantastic job minimizing that number. It's down just below 6% now. That's an impact directly to our ratepayers, and I think that this amount goes a long way towards helping soften that impact or potentially, if this group chooses to do that, to softening some of that impact on our folks. So, and at the same time, helping us get out of what we have created over the last many years, which is, you know, our PER has gone into the moderate, our financial indicator has gone into the moderate from the low. It indicates that we underinvested in the township, and we need to catch up a little bit. And this increase helps us without a great impact to those ratepayers achieve those goals of getting an FIR back down into the low category by making investments not just into the port, but into the roads, into the facilities, and into the networks that, quite honestly, we can't afford to tax for. We can tax for it in 2% and 4% increases. We can't tax for it in the amounts that we need. So that extra need, that extra 190,000 gets things like cleanup at the canal. It gets things like pools fixed. It gets things like parking lots built that need to be built around areas that were not adequately parking lots built before. And I know that we don't see that as the port's responsibility to pay for that. I get that, you know, that's that, but I think this, at least for me in my leadership, I see that as things that we've left behind over the last decade, and I'd really like to catch up on some of those products or those projects, and I'd like to get that moderate number in our FIR back down to a low risk, and to do that, it's going to require some investment in our infrastructure in our township, and I see this as a potential solution to do that over the next 4-year term. So you know, the support, I know the support does a fantastic job. Get us to that number you guys did. Again, everyone, Sorry, everyone did a fantastic job getting us to that record number last year, that record, revenue number. It got us to a record surplus as well. I think it's in a fantastic position. I think it's evidenced by the fact that there's a $9 million capital budget sitting in front of us. And I think, asking for, a total of another 800,000 over 4 years for that, for, I guess it would be a 4-year budget, it's 4 budgets. That number isn't a ridiculous ask. So, for the projects that I hope that this group has a vision to want to do. So, that's my more than 2 cents on why I think there should be an increase to the plan. So,
So I think that makes sense. I think we use it,
we can keep discussing further. I mean, I'm fine if somebody wants to comment. It's totally okay. That's what we're here currently debating. So,
No, but it's fair. I mean, like I said, I just think that, I'm not saying the money isn't there. I'm just saying we can't, taking it out of the port now. Doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, and I get the forecasting. It's fine, but things come up and it has happened. Are we prepared to say, we're gonna change our budget a little because it's not a good idea anymore. And I don't think we'll go to that conversation. I think we'll just figure out how to, differently, and I think it could be I struggle with the right word here. It's not going to be necessarily a huge power, but it could be something that causes implications in the part. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, because the 190 is a 3% increase in our taxation. So it's not an enormous amount. What I'm asking for is, a steady bill for the next, this term of council to go to $1 million, which ultimately over the 804, is 190,000. 65 pays 1%, so 3% increase. Not gonna kill the township. We didn't get it, but there is the potential that we may not get green ground surplus. There is the potential to get that. This way, we're guaranteed to get at least 190 more per year. So the 3% growth.
But let's just say something disastrous happens and we can't get a ship till then for October, November, December. When do we do that? Yeah, that's where
That's $7 million.
Very plus. Okay, there you go. I'm just saying,
We do have $7 million in reserves, if you should recall.
And the township management. The money every. I'm just a better, I'm not saying it doesn't happen by the end of the year. I'm just saying we have a conversation at that point. I can live in order. It's fine. I appreciate that. So.
John Stewart, Wilson. I understand what you're saying. We still have the potential for the access. Not gonna happen. So I'm just gonna look at that's gonna happen, it doesn't happen. We can address that.
Okay, so there's there's the consensus. So
yeah, I mean, it's a big one that we want to get done, should have done before, agree on. And that's really cool. They're not gonna grow. We're not gonna grow, but that's not the tax rate. Like I said before, in my campaign, a small thing makes you happy.
we all have certain. Okay, so 1 yes, 1 no, 1 yes, 2 yes, 3 yes, 2 no. So 3 to 2. This is going to come back ultimately for council approval after this discussion. We're going to have that discussion again. But so do we need then to or 3 to 2 up here, or are we? Do we need a motion to change that, Bill, or what? Where are we at with that?
We're changing either now or council, make it cleaner and more clear to be in it.
It's been thoroughly debated, so then I need a mover and a seconder then to increase the bill from whatever it is, the 804, 875 to $1 million static for the years 2020, this 2023, 24, 25, 26, is that right? For 4 years we're in for budgets that we did. So I need a mover to do that. That's moved by Councilor Smith, was the seconded by the deputy mayor. So it's still open, it's still debatable, there's still further discussion. Anyone has any comments or questions before I call the question? Feel free to do that. Okay, so then I'm going to call the question then on the motion as it is to increase the bill from 804 to $1 million. That all in favor? So opposed? So four. Okay, so there we have direction on the bill to GM. What other? I don't know that we're done yet. Are we done? We're not. So,
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the expenses. We did the revenue. The only thing is I'll do is I'll update the numbers on the action item.
Yeah.
And we're ready to go into the capital.
okay, let's go into, we do have that other motion, but I think, can we just do that now then, just to housekeep it and get it over with before we go into connect? So I need somebody to move a motion to remove the final 2 years of community funding. So if somebody's going to move by the deputy mayor, second by Chris Ward, further discussion on the removal of community funding. Hearing none, all in favor? That one's unanimous. Okay, so moving on to capital.
On the capital budget, starts off, we're ready to go.
We are good to go.
A little bit of background here. The budget must be approved by this committee and council. Any approved budget project over 50,000 must then come back to this committee to finance it. Does not need to go to council. Any approved budget that is project is below 50,000 is up to the purview of the DM to make authority to go forward with that project. Any non-budgeted item must be brought forward before the management committee to go to council for approval. And of course, the procurement policy must be followed at all times.
I'm just going to stop you for 1 second, and I just want to say thank you for those 5 points in background, because I certainly over the last term had some of those confused. I thought this committee made, once the budget was passed, made all decisions, and council was out of the loop as far as that goes at this table. So I think having those 5 things in front of everyone is important.
So we're clear that once the capital budget is approved by council, it doesn't go back to council.
Right. Yeah. It stays at those decisions that are in the approved stay at the capital or stay at the committee. Yeah. Go forward.
So we basically separate our projects. We basically set up our projects into 4 different categories. Okay, and we allocate capital to these various categories, and they are color coded. And the first one is the property, land, equipment, and office building infrastructure, which we have in yellow. The second is the marine terminal equipment and infrastructure, which we have in blue on the spreadsheet. Third is the grain elevator equipment and infrastructure, which we have in light green, I believe, colorblind. And the fourth is like, fourth is like really, we put our projects there that we've done it. I mean, the business case comes forward then we go forward and then. So the capital process begins with we discussion with the board, we list projects on a spreadsheet, we determine the priority, we use a point system, we look at key indicators, health and safety, return on investment, efficiency improvements, preventive maintenance. We then review the list, timing of the projects, potential interruption, customer service, engineering studies that may be required in cash flow of the business. And the following is a commentary of each project. It's a brief commentary. When they come back, the project said over 50,000, but we will obviously more detail. We'll have gone to tender, we'll have the pricing and so on and so forth. These are more bookmarks. And I want to make sure you understand that part. We do a brief commentary, and we certainly will do our best to answer your questions on each project. The Excel spreadsheet and list of projects and color codes as I described. And so you understand where we're putting our money in towards together. Is it towards more business that will generate more revenues and so on. And you can have amounts. In some years we're more heavily weighted towards infrastructure because we have issues. Other years we need more towards our investing in ratings to generate more revenues. So we like to split it up that way just so we don't be a little bit of money. It's important to note that the major projects identified in 2023 are bookmarks, recommendations to proceed will depend on the results, kind of bids, and then timing and when it can start to be completed with minimal impact to the operation. Please keep in mind when the major projects specifically 3 months approved by council. Come back to the fourth financial need for policy. So as we're going through the Saunders to get to capital project. We get to the minor, they're the ones that are 50 and below, and those are the ones once you approve it tonight. If we decide to go ahead with it, we'll not be coming back to approval, we'll just be doing whatever. So any questions on the preamble?
Just for clarity, before we start going through them, and it saves me time on my calculator. We're within 1.28 from projects last year forward, right, to complete it this year. It's on the bottom of it's line item. Well, it says line item number 18, but it's on the very bottom of the capital project.
Okay. That's the amount from major, and there's an amount from minor as well. So the total variable is more than that.
Okay,
So
so
I know it's 23, and that's why I got a little confused.
yep. So my question is, the projects in the 2023 capital budget don't include the WIP projects from 2022.
Well, when we're going for approval, we're separating it up so that we're approving both new monies and some of the projects need additional monies, which is not just the carryover, we need more money to get the project completed. So the way we worded it is we split it up into the carryover monies, right, from the previous projects. And then the new money, so they're in the action of it, do what they thought.
I haven't done that, right? So the 10,635,950 dollars includes the 1.28 or 1.3 then whipped forward.
Yes.
Okay. Good. And so we're sort of reapproving that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I wanted.
Some of it's changed, for example, the 200,000.
Yeah, 285 didn't.
We moved down to 100,000. Because the generator, for example, we're not doing it the same way, so we're not going to take the 200 and put it in, we're all saying 100, so we're actually not bringing the whole. And we're bigger than need, so we adjusted the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, without further ado, Mr. Song.
Yes.
They are part of the Vanguard project. We met in the board as a candidate on the technology grant for the spending on that. So that was contingent on receiving that final. Doesn't receive funding. We'll get it.
That's number 18, is that?
And same with the rail, and span of one, there's funding available, now, custody. So then, there's silence. Well, before, this will be the third year of taking on the dock, basically taking care of this, and the dock is the natural filling, and when the dock is built, the law read over it. The picture there shows, very small fawning, two small fawning there in the middle of the dock. Project in the previous years, took care of, was a big pilot, it was, one where it was a pond last year, where you can see that they were behind the new asphalt. There was another pond where it's, the office. So, the intent now is to, grind that area and bring it back to level, we don't have a pond. As part of the combination plan, I'll have a lot of run towards the pond. Not taking the dock and, just working the cargo.
If I can ask a question at this point, Mr. Saunders, there is salt there now. That, like in that area, correct, the paving would be, Done?
No, afterwards.
so it's empty at the moment?
So,
So,
towards the end of it. Towards the end of the pond.
okay, do we expect there to be salt there? We can avoid that to get the paving done? We anticipate actually getting $150,000 worth of paving done?
I'll answer that, I gave this all. One pilot back to second speed and now. I'm trying to go certain time that I'm not bringing anything in until after the day. That's the time that it's not before. It's hard for that because they're producing a product and you make money once they ship it, so it help the whole bag that this is kind of complete with, so the whole bag that reminds means, they need the time limit for it. Explain the salt has to continue. There's potential that we might not have to do that area, if there's, if you flip the page, and that belongs to other areas that we would see.
Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you.
So let's take on page 5, or 2 more pictures on the top. One is, area taken that, the attending is done by a dryer. So now with, the magnet, the raw dust and red dust and off the dryer, with higher grade. You want to pay that, but, making it a lot easier. And your organic materials, like, so you can make a mess, or use lovely. The other areas, the ones that the roads are talking about, the massive weeds, see quite a bit of traffic, over the years, it's getting chewed up. It is chewed up pretty badly, and we won't want to, repair that area as well. Second is rail repair. We have, the main focus will be the main crossing on that gate 1, it will be a railway track. Since that crossing was done, I believe, in 2015 and 16, so it's stood up very well over the 7 years. I don't see a lot of truck traffic and a lot of cars based on fault coming in. So it's a lot of longer than expected. We're going to get that year. Moving on, we want to email some cover storage for a little talking deal. The first trip we work with the tailhead. I kind of chat with the elements over the winter, but then they're not going over the thing. Now, just that storage area out. We have an area, a receiving area, but we can use shore, we bring them, and then we'll try to pick up a little bit, so it's close to dust, but near place, it really keeps it out of the dust, a lot of rain, a lot of seals and that, but like that, and make it kind of maintain it. So we're looking for some cover storage to increase the longevity of the unit. Our current garage we have, which is in picture there, we're looking at 2 floors on the floor. So we're looking at maybe raising the roof on that, the thing garage, we're replacing that garage with something else. We're getting options are looking at, consider storage for equipment. We have the fish drain, the marina restaurant, and the public One of them, we kind of did it, that one, the replacement. It was the gym and previously the. I mean, the. Operation. There, the rest of us to be on the responsibility of them. And the problem is that they're not on land, what the awareness, fair, some of that has been used to lay down there. Going forward, okay, looking at clearing of land and there's sort of land, pretty a plan for that.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Forward to the reason now with the shape. It does require and 50,000. Plans right now with the 600,000 home. And then there another administration. We'll see, everybody more than see not consider it. What concerns last year from the company, we didn't have any. Not. They did it one third, the other. Basically, out of services. Then we got 3,000 meters of material. Page 10, we're starting on the grain elevator. This is the form of the share content repair, receiving 56. But you have to, we have 6 receiving pairs very close to the outside of the building. The end-up trailers kept up. And when it's rain or precipitation, that's the slide from the water collecting through it. It's right down into the receiving pit and the spot. In the scale and it's on sort of thing. That was one of the big findings from the audit. We that this flag some sort on the top of that pit. This project is looking at that. Last year we had some interesting the ethanol plant that they shut down every year. Until last year it always done in October, and we were lucky that their PM coincided with our peak week sorting. And we have a receiving pit at the end and keep that dump pit. And then run the material back into the drain and make out later, just to increase the number of volume. We look at our peak week this year, we had demand for 326 per day. Yes, there was up amount. When we did a little bit of PM in September, when our business was working, but did cut off the receiving pit for Harley. So when we were at demand for anywhere from 250 up to 326, and over the weeks, we left our apartments to 130 and 150 based on the amount of time when we get it. We got it as well. We looked out this concrete repair from the roof line. We're looking at adding a third receiving pit in the main structure. We use all the current stuff that we now. We run from money when we're short 40 to 50 trucks available, and use that, places someone can come and get $1,000 per day. In that area. Closing up these better, well, money there, so you get.
You know, sorry. So that's obviously an important, you have to be capacity in that for sure. And it's something we have a pretty good partnership on Greenfield. So is there any chance that we can help influence that change back to October for the future? Or is that, and I say that knowing that necessarily as this, but we are sort of partners.
It's better for us if they were changing back to their business, it's actually better to have it in September. The complaint they were getting from the producers when the farmhouse started living, they were never ready to do it. They're down to lose. The shift was actually. But down below, this shows basically engineering drawing, nothing drawing from it, concrete, so. Sick receiving, you also do the same on the again, we'll be talking control down below. That's not a problem, I'm concerned about in the industrial area, but as I would change, they will be seen in every other. Only a rehab project, for repair, we have the area where. Two, that was the area behind the 3,000, we need the eye line, high angle, workers, so they can get on our road, get in behind this tower, and stage, this one available. We'll start with others. They want to bring it back to ship, finish my, that's a project off. Yeah, I don't know if that's in the country. Great to do. Last year, those kind of all three done and management. We did eventually about these groups capture out. Both of them back and forth.
So was it like, I mean, it looks like it should have cut down on the amount of dust to an extreme, but you can't it accomplishes what it's supposed to. It's, yeah, it looked, I mean, it looks like it's noticed probably now.
I mean, it would, to a bin street, but it was where you could see the side.
Yeah. No, that's nice. Good. That's been done. Sorry, Eric. No.
4-11 transfer troops to West Dallas to carry over from last year. Again, the contractor, who tied up another project into the who started our harvest season started. Just wasn't a good fit at that time. Preparing part troops, the from gate scales compare. That handle is united, that handle goes along the down range. So he is actually prepared to come to that in practice here. Great. Generator repair is taking around for a couple of years, we want to replace it, fuel tank. Looks like probably we just, that's solution is already now, repair the fuel tank, what we do now. Looking at a couple of different options, to do that. That is, forward. And that was carried over last year, other side, cut that in half. Also looking at exterior coverage for the elevator. We're looking at a couple of motorized lost American buildings that have some, the house is already been moved, but the building hasn't moved. Mike has found a supplier that basically the company that they do not know, they do this training, stuff, building and business, all of that. Highway. We did the first set of repairs back in 2015 and another phase in 2016. Trying to show slight needs to repair the building. Again, moving in the bin wall to drill and that to bin. Just started this very, very much stopping price. So that's the idea of the last time was to spray over top of and we should look at the bin, that should see the one that's getting there. Which again, once we get it done, breaks to repair the qualified. So they put on coating. The picture there, you can see there's two actually, basically two identical apartment buildings. One got sprayed over 20 years ago. And it looks like it was sprayed just yesterday. Coatings are usually resistant. And then they say they moved, if that's something I would have done, 100%, 700% scrap in the river.
So. Okay, so this would go like the entire building.
And that's right, but the further issue would be to do a patch, a couple of areas on the elevator.
And so this will prevent cracking, or will the cracking still happen?
The cracking will probably still happen, just break out a little bit of the concrete.
Yeah.
This does put the water barrier on the outside that was getting it.
Okay.
Problem with the crack, sorry. The problem with the cracking is when the water gets in there, it freezes, it displaces the concrete, that's why you see all that's falling and stuff. You know, we spend all this money on the repairs, it's been cracked, and then it just knocks us off every day, so you chase yourself all the way around. If you put, if basically we want to do is wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
It is still cracked, but the water can't, you should.
Okay, so then my only question, excuse my ignorance, is so we don't fix those cracks then?
You need to fix them, because I mean, it's graded so badly that, you know.
No, I mean, the future.
No.
Okay, so this would protect them from water getting in and recognize that it's going. And, I mean, this is a vanity thing, but, like, are there color options for this? Are we gonna get white, or we can be brown, or we get what colors? I don't care what colors. I'm just curious to, if you had actually.
It's always one color.
Okay.
Aesthetically, it's been making a difference as well.
I mean, long-term goal, I'd love to have, when we talk about 4 days, but I think you and I have had this conversation before about, using it as a movie backdrop and having a movie before. I hope that it's movie friendly, because it would be a cool place to project a movie against once this is finished, so.
So the 100,000 is just sort of a sample.
Yeah.
Well, I got those numbers a little small too, that's why.
Especially for movie.
That's the movie.
Yeah. So. I guess, we don't want to know what the entire building would cost, I'm assuming, but I'm not sure I'm asking for it anyways. So the 100K, there's also probably we want to make sure that the area behind the patch is secured first. There's probably an additional funding there for the concrete repairs. It's just an area that has to be repaired.
I mean, I just want to interject, we started the concrete repair in 2014, so 15, and originally before we were in the committee, it was recommended that you know, look, 5 to 6 years to put the podium. This is the fix the structure. We had the cold joints were all cracked and popped out and so on, so that was done. I don't think there's, I mean, I think there's not a lot of deep cracks or anything happening, that's all been repaired. So I don't want you to think that it's all cracked. It's in pretty good shape. But it needs to be protected, and that was always the long range. Goal, it was to find out what's the best way to do it, whether it's plating, like other ports that use plating after they do the repairs, or is it just a type of number that might discover and so on.
Cool. And other, so let's just say we have a section that does, you know, fall through, actually, well, even with a little top, because it can happen. So do the decrease in the repair, they just respray it, basically after the repair is done, or how?
Oh, I would imagine, you know, it's just right.
Moving on to the next, we started this program last year. Remember, we had an action in summer about the second phase of that. Yeah. That was so that is to be able to stretch our loading on if we want, and not cover more sooner. To reduce the merge cost.
And presumably makes it more attractive. For some stations as well. So, you know, competition boards, it'd be great habits.
15 new computer cables western the elevator. We had some 600 volt like a couple years ago. We do that in the building. They were 60 years old. If you want to like expectancy of a product that's the cable, it's 40 years. So expected lifespan. We've had a couple of repairs on them. They have generated a couple of issues over the last 2 years. The program and the replacing cables, so we have to maintain a reliability. So we have Bobcat program site working replacing one this year. Currently 30 years old. But repair bills are getting higher and higher. They need repairs now. They have to back to the shop and back to the schools. The Bobcat side has to lift up the floor from the bottom to get out to essentially or so favorite part.
It's crazy, it's crazy that they're 30 years old. With the replacement of the Bobcats, then do you keep the old Bobcat or do you declare it surplus and then sell it off?
Absolutely, fair stuff. But last, I think, last 3 or 4 years ago, just didn't want to maintain anymore. Sure, better surplus. First level side.
Do they bring in this amount of revenue or not?
4 or 5.
Okay, just curious, but it's 30 years old, it's done some pretty heavy lifting over 30 years, I'm sure. It's all
We'll actually break the land, so we can about up front, and also put a gate around, or we do some of the eligible work. Probably 20 feet above now, all kind of thing. We don't have today, one more for unit. Then the fourth Wildcat hours in the business expansion, talk about capital plan, or I guess the like I want to make long term. Put that in on the back, so the construction for our customers have to be and everything out there. That's effort. There's potential grant online. They'll apply for program is going to go forward.
So on that, we talked earlier about the what was it, 12,000. The number was 12,000. It just seems like such a small business to throw $1 million at that. Right? So are we thinking there's going to be a real big uptake on this, or I think that's a different question. Maybe that's what I can ask it, but I just worried that return on investment, but this could be generations.
That's something that, a lot of that discussion, the company, to see, everyone get, and then think about one every four, is what the board is going forward. And I think I'm doing that, there's overall, it's not about it. We've got parts of there to make, the community aware of this kind of,
Yeah, no, it's good to have, for sure, so. Yeah, I guess that's a different question, but we down the road, hopefully, if they're gonna bring up this every month, hopefully it'll be something we have a contract for this. 5, 10 years on that. I wouldn't want to bank on it. Yeah, we promise we'll do that every few weeks.
we're talking about the story, go to the board if you want. Cover yourself. Doesn't be a lot for the new grain dryer, organic food, stuff for food and dryer, and like that. Again, we've been in a conversation, finding out what we're going really want. 1% that, we just gave for the final, the advantage of it does allow us to do one right. That's an opportunity we miss, every year, when we volume. Not from 70,000 tons, all the way to go up to 20,000 tons.
So, if I can stop you just for 1 second, Kevin, so in the past, we were told we needed to lobby Enbridge, I believe, for gas expansion, and that piping would cost several $1 million to do. What makes this grain dryer different than what we're going to need to do an expansion of that?
We're basing this one on rule. $2.7 million bylaw. We are looking at the pricing the natural gas, or we respond to manufacturing out, they have a rule picking up the gas. Which is there. Problem we can have enough gas like how we have. If we didn't do another season, we did.
And so again, my ignorance for the green screen, but a propane solution still becomes the green infrastructure qualification, like it still fits within the criteria of matching up that.
Yeah, we're looking at that on the objective is to reduce energy. New driver has a recovery unit. After some study on it, and there's back in the 20 to 40% industrial fuel. That's based on a heat recovery unit. Probably the new dryer. Kind of based on much lighter of the now or hoping so. The standard dryer and then we're showing.
Sure, but the theory, I mean, the reality is we keep both dryers and potentially use both dryers. Correct.
So we got to see, that's why we want propane for the moment, we can get to the season from the both dryer. Yeah, I would vote to run over the propane or something.
Can we convert that from propane back to natural? That right.
That's what I'm getting.
Change yours. I was sort of do that.
Now,
I think Council Ward had questions.
Yeah, so I mean, we obviously you're costing the appropriate lead business case model when we get to that point. Do we have an expectation on what we see as a business case model?
I don't know how long it takes to process the application. You have to have the application by March 1st. If they're going to see, depending on how long it takes them to. Why we made the initial application, preliminary one, which is stuff with the quickly. But actually, the master to apply full application. That sounds positive, but not necessarily.
Yeah, no, and I guess I was sort of looking at when you say business case, it maybe is because we're covering the whole thing. It's surprising if that's the case. I just figured it was a, a return on investment in service, so to look at when we recover all the costs and it's profitable. That kind of a business side of it, not just the install of the actual part of that.
If we go forward, we can come up with a state. Just see how the area, the market, with it, just log out and watch the detail. Yeah, well, yeah, the purpose of the trip is out.
No, I'm good.
And I think I just want to ask for clarity is that still is this the like not the project, but is this the stream of funding, the grant funding that they give you the Fed give a short notice on? And the minister used our port as an example for green infrastructure. Remember the presentation, is that still the stream?
Yes,
It is still the stream,
correct.
yeah, so they used our port just for the coastal table, on short notice, they asked the port if they could make the announcement through the port, and they asked the port general manager to speak to what we do with the port, whether the port does our green drive services, that sort of stuff. And the GM made a fantastic presentation to, I forget who the minister was at this point, it was a long time ago, but I watched that presentation. It was fantastic. But I think the key is that they drove the short distance from Ottawa, the Feds, and came or not. I guess they did it virtually, but they utilized us, and you did a fantastic short notice presentation. I think we should have that. We should.
Back and telling us that even though it's open until 2026, when it closes, that they've got so many applications that we need to get our application in by March 1st. And this Sovereign has been working really hard to get this application done as of today, I believe. So it's going to go out tomorrow, so we'll meet the March 1st deadline, and I don't know if that's just typical of that everybody knows that.
It's fed, so it's going to federal year end.
And we're going to the fact that we have that this one maybe do have.
Well, I like that they used us for that presentation. I think that's fantastic.
Our campus is what
Saunders, were you finished with? We're going through those projects. Yeah. Yeah, and instead of going through the minor projects line by line, is it okay if I just ask the committee if they have any questions in regard to that 256,000, so we can move along a little? Thank you. Does anyone have any questions in regard to that 256K? We're good. Okay, and so thank you for that. So do we want to do the summary then?
Yeah, let me just finish off.
Thanks, Kevin. Sorry to
Which
show that I will.
Which is summary, so basically, normal capital projects, I'm on page 17, by the way. Page 17, those capital projects were 50,000, total capital projects, total 996,000. Total area was in 2022 is 1,305,000. Total $10,891,900. With a sub note is very close to $1 million, depends on funding. So, and then below that, it's a breakdown. It's great that I have to that. It's 550. And the next page is just a kind of exercise. I just want to explain this is basically you spend all the money that you get all the projects and everything. Would we have enough money in the bank to finance this? And we did. I mean, we'd have to use a lot of investments and so on, but this is an important tool for the government as well. Because we have to show that we have the money to finance the project, right? So this is really what this is about. To say, and it's not to say we're going to spend it all. It's to say that you know, if this is what you get in your surplus for 2023, which is done early in the budget, and you spend all the money that you're saying in capital, so that can be the approval on, then we're still okay if you look at this cash flow. Now, does anyone really want to go through line by line on the cash flow, or are we okay?
No, I think in summary, with the decision that was made today, you go from say 6.6 million in 2023's opening balance to, do some quick math on me here, about 4.4 billion or something like that by the time we get to 2027 now with that extra money coming in.
Well, our investments, we'd be taking out of our investments, and we'd be left with 1.2 million in investments.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, the end here, but that's from the year ending bank account amounts for cash, if you will.
Right.
It goes from 5.1 million down to about $4.3 million by the end.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're clear on that, so that's fine.
And then the investment allocation, just I explained earlier, at the bottom of the page, 18, this overall, we earmark major project for the next 10, 20 years, you know, here's where it looks like it's falling, and then for 2023, here's basically, including our carryover, where we're dividing up the percentages for these different allocations of money. That's the, that's the capital budget.
Thank you, for yet another, well presented, well done budget. It's, been 4 years, for me. I know the first year that I sat through this, it was rather daunting and numbers were crazy, and it's quite a process the first time. It was a lot to chew on the first time I sat, at the table. What I can say, I said earlier as well, and when we talk about the bill is, it is you guys, everyone on the board does a fantastic job. In control of it, you treat it like it's your own business. I respect that. I like the budgets that come forward. I love home runs. I love when people take big swings, and I to this date I have not seen a projected capital budget of $11 million, but that is one hell of a big swing. So I congratulate you on taking, a very, very aggressive stance. It'll be interesting to see how much of 10, 20 million dollars, $11 million that we can actually accomplish. I think, the criticism around this group when we got in was that we weren't going to see investment go back into that. And I think this budget, if it passes in this form, certainly will indicate that this group is very confident in the investment going back into that, as it would more than double what last year's investment was. So, to recognize the work that went into this and say that this is aggressive. Thank you. Yeah, well done with putting something in front of us that shows how aggressive we can be.
Do I go on to the action item? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the recommendation, this is page 18 of your report packages that we're at right now. Is the report action item. I went through the background and so on, preparing this. Under financial considerations, we're going to be changing the expenses from $6,115,000 to $6,310,272. And again, this will be going to council, so the clerk will be rewording this and so on, but for approval of this committee. That's the increase for the bill. So again, $6,115,000 should actually have 126 on there. It doesn't. Chris, if you do the math, you can get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to follow, so I got lost in that.
$6,115,272. The surplus, net surplus is going to go from $3,895,000, $3,699,729. That's what we're looking at approving on this action item. That's our recommendation. So the action item reads like this: the Port Management Committee recommends the council approve the Port of Johnstown's 2023 budget revenue and expenses as presented with those changes that I made. That the Port Management Committee recommends the council approves the Port of Johnstown 2023 capital budget in the amounts of $9,586,000 plus 2022 carryover of $1,305,950 for a total of $10,891,950. Not including HSD, should probably be in there.
All right.
So that's the recommendation.
That's the recommendation. So, let's let the group have a little more, a little bit of time to discuss. I think we had a really good discussion regarding it as we went through there. I just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable at the table. Like I said, I think for me, my first kick at this can was that I was thankful for the 3 members that had so much experience sitting around me and Mr. Cameron, Mr. Hunter, and Mayor Sayer. So it was great to follow their lead and definitely listen to the comments and questions they had. So I want to make sure that before we move along with this, that folks are comfortable with moving along. So Councillor Smale, you're good? Okay. So we've had, yeah, Deputy Mayor, no, I'm fine. Yeah, Mr. Martel. Okay, so we have a recommendation that's been there. We've all read it. It's been, you read the amended version, right? Correct. So everybody heard the amended version that includes the updated amount from the pill that we had decided before. So then I think at this point, hearing that everybody's comfortable with it, I'm happy to ask for a mover. Unless somebody wants to wait, I think we've had the discussion. It doesn't appear to me that there's a reason to wait longer. Move this recommendation to the council to get this budget passed so that they can get the tender documents out. It's an aggressive budget. I think the sooner they can get those documents out, then the better it is, the better chance they'll have to actually get those things to action. So having said that, if I can have a mover for the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Smale, I need a second here for that recommendation, which would be the Deputy Mayor Dill-Bach. So further discussion on the plan?
Just, I will vote in favor of it, but action on the very using the bill, so sure that's good.
No further discussion, then all in favor? Good. Thank you. Let's see what you can do. Thank you. Nothing else is fun, that's right. All right, so let's run through the disbursements then, I believe. We are on number 9, so we need approval of the disbursements that are there. Does anyone have questions or comments on the disbursements as they are there? Anyone? No. So to the clerk, do I need to move her and a seconder for that? So just and what would it say? Approval of the disbursements as listed? As circulated. Okay. So I need a Deputy Mayor Dill-Bach, seconded by Chris Ward. No discussion. All in favor? Good. Moving on. Councillor requires notices of motion. Does anyone have any further? There are none. There is no chair's report tonight. We've been here long enough. There is Mr. Reed and Stephen's here. Question, Gary, do you have any questions in regard to what was discussed tonight? Okay, so we do have an in-camera session. I think we'll take a quick 2-minute recess, to allow members of staff and of the public to move before we go forward with the secretary. Yeah, it should. Oh, I need a motion. So what is my motion? Right in front of you.
Yeah.
Right in front of you. Okay, sorry. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Martel, the committee for citizens closed session. at 9:30 p.m. in order to address the matter pertaining to section 2392B personal matter individual, including this operator, the board's employer, specifically review committee application.
All right, so you've got to move to the second, don't leave the table until I call the vote, all in favor? Good. We're in session. Okay.
I have a motion moved by myself and seconded by Councilman Marty Slater, that the closed meeting of the committee does now adjourn, and the meeting does resume at 9:50 p.m.
Motion on the floor, moved and seconded, discussion, none, all in favor? So I will report out of closed session that committee met to in closed session to discuss personnel matters about an identifiable individual or individuals, including municipal or local board. Employees specifically review committee applications, and the committee gave direction to staff to prepare an appointment bylaw. That suffice? Good. I forgot to read who it was moved by. It was moved by Deputy Mayor Steve Dillabaugh and seconded by Councilmember Joe Martell. Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor? Wait, I don't know that. I'm reading off the wrong sheet. We don't have to vote. We don't vote every session. We did. We just recorded. Sorry, my blunder on that. I'm reading off my sheet. My bad. So I've covered reporting out. So I'm calling it the adjournment. And that's what I'm calling. That's what I messed up. Sorry, it's been 2 long nights. I need to move moved by President Ward, seconded by Councilor Simon. All in favor? There, no, sorry, that's my bad. I think so. You can cut that. You can cut the last part. You can't cut the mistake. Hopefully nobody edits at the end. No, you can't. Oh, so I don't look like an idiot. Well.